Assalamu alaikum, peace. Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Who am I? I'm Coach Fatimah, 1/3 of Outstanding Personal Relationships, and I want to welcome you to this week's Quintessential Queens. And this one is about home wrecker syndrome. So I will see you guys right after these messages. Assalamu alaikum, peace. Once again, it's Fatimah, Coach Fatimah, 1/3 of Outstanding Personal Relationships. And welcome to this week's installment of Quintessential Queens. Home wrecker syndrome. We're going to do a little bit of housekeeping first and foremost. Make sure that you guys let me know where you're tuning in from. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. I think you will be able to. And walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And Ramadan Mubarak to everyone that is fasting. May it be accepted. Really quickly, a couple things I want to share with you before I begin. I want to know how many of you all have picked up our polygamy roadmap. Be sure you pick it up at polygamyroadmap.com. And also, I want to invite you, as we always do, to our polygamy education campus. Now, what is that? Our polygamy education campus is where we have so many meetups, challenges, live classes that we conduct every week. You can connect with us on a daily basis. And this is a really awesome community because our campus, I should say, because it's a private campus. And this is a safe space for people to discuss all things marriage and specifically polygamy or polygyny, as we say. So head on over to polygamyeducation.com and you can sign up there, and we will absolutely love to connect with you over there. So it's so much great information. I'm enjoying it. The OPR team enjoys it as well. We have some really great feedback. So many of our clients, coaching and counseling clients, and just everybody that is enjoying that space has let us know that they feel safe in that space. So again, and make sure you like and share so that we can reach more people. We want to keep our conversations going and our trainings and things going, and making sure that we're part of the solution and not part of the problem, because we don't need help in that area. We need to have these conversations and these trainings and different things that we offer at Outstanding Personal Relationships.com so that we can help others. And we do, again, want to get the word out to other people. And the only way we can do that is making sure that we share the information. So with that being said, let's get into this week's Quintessential Queens. Home wrecker syndrome. Now, what is it? Now, let's first come to terms with some terminology. One thing that I had to do more than a little bit, and this was not fun. Let me just say this was not fun. I had to get a few people, greetings to you. Welcome. I had to get a couple people straightened out on terms. So that's why I like to say coming to terms with terminology. What I had to do is kind of fix in others the words or wording that they were using. Now, oftentimes, as men practice polygyny, which is the practice of having more than one wife, and we're monogamously married to the same man, but we're not married to one another. They'll get these terms mixed up. So they might refer to an initial wife as the true wife, and then they'll go to the subsequent wife or wives and use terms such as, or even behind her back, such as homewrecker, baby mama, side chick, flavor of the month, and that's one that is absolutely supremely disrespectful. Um, Not the real wife, not the legal wife, not the just always a not and a lack. And one thing that I know full well is that I specifically was approached more than once about my own co-wife, and the term wife was not used. Now, this is more than a trigger for me. This is something that I know enough about me that I'm going to call it out, and I'm going to tell them, don't talk about her like that. She's his wife just like I am. And I'm very serious. I'm very serious. I'm more than serious, because we're not going to, what I don't do with people is act like I'm above anyone else. So I'm definitely not going to go down this path with someone else trying to, sometimes people want to say things to you because they think that's what you want to hear. And that's absolutely not what I want to hear. It would be arrogant of me to want to hear, oh, you're his real wife. She's the fake one, or she's his baby mama, or his outside kids and all this. Outside of what? Outside of the family? Outside of his love for them? Outside of what? My children are not outside children. That's their father. His children that I did not have are his children. They're in his family. So this is one of these cases where you have to teach people how to treat you. So I don't go, no, don't call my co-wife baby mama. It'll be a, what did you say? It'll be a, excuse me. It might be an excuse you. It might be, I don't know if you know this or not, but that's his other wife. And I've been to events and different things, and they'll go, well, who's his wife? And I'll go, both of us. Both of us. I mean, it's up to you what you're going to do with that information, but I'm going to tell you like it is. I'm not going to say, well, this is my sister or a sister or anything like that. Now, maybe everybody's not there yet. I understand that. I really, really do. I wasn't always like that, but I wasn't the one to say that's his baby's mother, because then what am I saying about my own husband? How disrespectful am I being toward my own husband that I loved first in the family before anybody else came into the family? I mean, my children, they weren't always family members, right? You have to give birth. So I'm not going to call his other wife anything other than wife, because that's dishonorable. And I'm not going to dishonor her, and I wouldn't want her to dishonor me. And that's not, and we don't sit up and let people do that. We correct them. And then I like talking to people that like me. So if they've, I might tell them and invite them to go somewhere and take a nap because they're acting like a child. I will remove myself from the conversation after I'm done checking them on the information that has everything to do with me and my family and nothing to do with them. Because some people want to just talk to hear the sound of their own voice. They don't want you to teach them, redirect, or correct them. They just want to talk at you, not to you. One thing that I would offer subsequent wives as an initial wife and a sister is that you don't have to do anything, but if you want success in polygyny, know your title and know your worth. Your title is that of wife, not anything else. You can say subsequent wife, his other wife, right? Or that's my husband. I'm married to him. Yes, he has another wife. One of the most entertaining things to do is watch someone else's face when I say that's my co-wife or my husband's other wife, and I know they don't like me or us or it. Polygyny. Again, that's a them thing. I'm not going to let somebody else's dislike or their insecurities be placed in my lap. Not after what I've been through, not after what I've overcome. They can keep their insecurities. I got my own. I don't need a bunch more. I don't need a bunch more. So the beauty of putting honor on our co-wives just as much as we place on ourselves is it's offering something to our own marriage. It's offering something to someone else that we love, meaning our husband, by addressing our co-wives or wife as such. They didn't get married to not be called wife. They didn't get married to be called side chick, baby mama, none of these things. So I can only imagine placing myself in the shoes of someone else and saying, if someone called me that, how would I feel? If somebody called me that, would I be accepting of it? And again, you don't have to be rude to get your point across. It's always best to lead classy, always. But sometimes to be stern and firm calls for it. Sometimes I've had to do this many times. And then people understand that. Don't say that to Coach Fatimah or Fatimah. Don't say that to her. She's going to get you. Yeah, I am. I'm just going to correct you if you're misinformed, because some of it's innocent. Some of it's just innocent. They don't know what to say. They don't know what to say to you. They don't know what to say about it. They don't know what to do. I get that. So I act accordingly. But once we offer as initial wives and give this advice to people that this is what we're leading with, this is how we're going to address my co-wife around me, so that everything stays peaceful and you can leave with your feelings intact. Because sometimes when you come off in a way that is self-righteous, ignorant, loud, disrespectful, and then you kind of get checked, then you might feel this small because I'm controlling my emotions. But I'm going to offer you this information. So it doesn't matter to me if other people that are way outside of my family say, that's his baby mama, da, da, da. But when it's within earshot of my hearing, then that's where I need to step in and say, no, that's his other wife. I know, and the awesome part is she has a name. She has a name, and she wears other hats too. So that's the beauty of that, knowing your title and knowing your worth. So taking away and removing the shame of saying that you're married to a man that has a wife, on the other side. It's about placing honor on yourself, because I learned something else when I was a lot younger, that if I don't honor myself first and foremost, I can't have this expectation that somebody else will honor me without me like teaching them. But that has to be inside first. That doesn't mean I have this life of perfection. No, that doesn't mean I don't have work to do or flaws or anything like that. That's not true. I absolutely have stuff to work on. I'll be working on for the rest of my entire life. And I'm okay with that. But what I'm not okay with is placing this shame, because society has taught us to shame the people that it feels shouldn't be there. It's taught us to say, no, it's monogamy or that's it. These wives, these other people, these kids, be gone with them. They don't matter. They don't count. And then we go, yeah, they don't count. They don't matter. These are kids. These are people that signed up to be in polygyny and to be disrespected in such a way because somebody else just feels like they shouldn't exist, feels like they don't matter or have no rights. There's a lot we must unlearn. These are the same people that had slaves. These are the same people that lynched Black men, that say, no, polygyny, no, you're not allowed. You can't do it. We don't like it. And I said, oh, these are the same people that didn't like us. We built their stuff up, but they didn't like us. We nursed their children, but we nannied their children, but they didn't like us. We got abused and maimed and everything else. Didn't like us. But then the forefathers said, no, they don't matter. No, that's it. It is it. And if you have questions for Coach Nazir, because this question is one that he has answered many, many times, please go to support at outstandingpersonalrelationships.com and you can message him directly, because that's a good question. It's a good question. You guys always offer good questions. He answers that question as well. Make sure you guys are checking out our videos here on YouTube. If you're watching from YouTube, especially Coach Nazir's videos, if you are a husband or a man who's interested in polygyny, he goes there, he goes in depth, he gives some really great best practices, and he's sharing them, and he's completely transparent. My co-wife, Coach Nyla, and I, we do the same thing on YouTube, and we have hundreds of videos. And don't just watch some of them. So don't just, if you're initial wife, don't just watch mine, watch both of ours. If you're subsequent wife, watch both of our videos, because what it offers you is it gives you a little piece of the world of each other, so you might understand more. So I understood more about subsequent wives, not just watching Coach Nyla's videos, because sometimes we don't always have time to watch each other's videos. However, what we did do is we had these really good conversations about our experiences in polygyny as wives in polygyny. So, and just women, period. It's just women in polygyny, period. So we have so many videos. I think we have over 500 videos on YouTube, and that's a lot. But you're going to make sure you have something to write with and write on as you view them, because I'll write down notes from our videos. I'll write down notes from our videos, because we like to mentor each other as well as be family members to one another. But these are really great questions. They're really important questions as well. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Salams to you all. I'm going to go on to my next point, because in this Quintessential Queens, once again, we're talking about homewrecker syndrome. And I know so many subsequent wives have been slapped with this label of homewrecker, although that's not what they are. Now, everybody doesn't have good intentions, but we can only control ourselves. But to slap this label of homewrecker on the women that are really trying and they want to be part of something more, or they want to be in polygyny for so many reasons that are healthy reasons, and helping expand family. And I know we had a very large family before Coach Nazir decided to practice polygyny. And so to expand that family and make it as big as it is now is something that is honorable. And some people go, oh, it's dishonorable. No, it's not. No, it's not. If everybody in that family has healthy intentions on that family, and they're there in support and help and love, and knowing with their healthy intentions that this can be something more beautiful than it was before, even, and we still got the same members in our family that are participating. Everybody here matters. So that's a great, great, great question. And again, he's the one for the job to absolutely answer it. And he has a multitude of times. But yes, I'm going to go to the next point. One thing that people should understand, just for clarification, is that the only person that can destroy your marriage are the people that are in that specific marriage. And oftentimes people are saying, yeah, no, your co-wife wrecked your marriage. And somebody had made a comment. They said, once you're in polygyny, your marriage is already destroyed. And I said, you know what? That's smoke from another fire. That's smoke from another fire, because oftentimes the problems that were in the marriage were already there before polygyny, and polygyny is not here to fix another marriage. A husband doesn't marry another wife to get a duplicate of the wife he had before. That's not how this works. We're all different. We all have different things that are beautiful. We have different things that we provide within our own monogamous marriages. So the man is practicing polygyny, or the practice of having more than one wife, and the wives are monogamously married to that one husband. Right? So the wives are not married to one another, just for clarification, because people have asked and they just didn't know. It was an innocent question. Were my co-wife, Coach Nyla, and I married, and we're not. We never have been, nor will we ever be. So I just want to make sure that I cleared that up. But understanding that the damage that's done within a marriage is of the people that are in the marriage. Okay. And that's very important to understand, because the work that you need to do on your marriage involves yourself and your spouse, not your co-wife or wives, respectfully, because we want to include, because Muslim men can have up to 4 wives. But understanding that there must be some work. So, for example, if you want a certain body, you don't look to the neighbor next to you that's exercising and you're not, and say, I want you to lose my weight. I want you to eat healthy for me. I want you to go to my doctor's appointments for me. I want you to walk. I want you to take my supplements for me, because that's senseless. So when we look at another marriage and say, that marriage needs to do the work to fix this marriage, or that marriage destroyed my marriage. No, oftentimes what destroys the marriage is the ones that are not willing to put in the work and communicate and have the hard conversations, again, that don't need to be hostile. They should not be hostile. One thing I know about people, when they want to have a conversation and they're shut down, they don't want to talk. It's difficult for them to talk again. It's difficult to bring up things again and want to work on them again. You just say, well, I'm not heard, so I just won't talk about it. I'll just leave it alone. Now, many times we do need to have the conversation, but we also need to take a break when it starts to get a little bit too heated. If it gets heated, taking breaks matters. But for people to say that subsequent wives, and that's part of subsequent wives syndrome, because this society is set up for monogamy. That's it. If it's not monogamous, forget it. These other people don't matter. This wife matters because this initial wife is supposed to be here, and everybody behind her doesn't matter. And then we'll sit and buy into this, and then we'll look up, and there's so much damage done that is slapped on a subsequent wife that it feels like she can't breathe under the pressure, because what she wants, needs, what she want to talk about, how she feels doesn't matter, because you're not supposed to be here, because this is an initial wife universe. The world we live in is accepting of initial wives. And some, and I'm going to say it, some initial wives sit in a place, we all sit in a place of privilege because of the way society is set up, but they use that place of privilege as a power trip. And then they may find themselves calling the subsequent wife a home wrecker. Because see, the husband could have said no, and he didn't. Right? And if there's an issue, I'm married to my husband. I'm not married to my co-wife. So I don't go to her about issues that are in my own marriage. I go to the other participant or my spouse. That's how that works. But to label another woman who consensually married a man that's married already, and he consensually, nobody put anything to his head in order for him to marry her. But when they bring it to me or to initial wives, and initial wives bring it back and forth, and then there's this name calling that goes on, it's very difficult to come back, because no husband wants to hear his wives calling each other out of their names. No, if he does, there's an issue greater there, because we get personality and character confused constantly. So if we're going to call each other out of each other's names, we have to be very careful with that, because we're mad because our husband's married again. Subsequent wives don't have control over a husband. An initial wife does not have control over a husband. Maybe some think they do, but to sit in a place of privilege as an initial wife, or even let's say subsequent wives. So if there's more than 2 wives and there's 3 or 4, then they could have the same type of issue. Because some subsequent wives might feel as though, look, I'm here to correct whatever mess that was, and I'm going to replace this one, and I'm going to have a family to myself. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Accusations will fly left and right. So it's important that we're mindful that the people that can destroy the marriage are the people in the marriage. Let's be mindful of that. And give honor to all wives. Do all wives act honorably? No. We're not talking about them. We're talking about the ones that are trying to do their best. They're actively participating in the health of being in polygyny. So they're not causing distractions, disturbances, and all these things like that. That doesn't mean you can't feel or be hurt or be jealous. Jealousy is natural. Jealousy is natural. If you look on TikTok or IG or anything like that, you'll see baby girls get jealous when their father kisses their own mother in front of them. You'll see the baby girl push their mother away. I saw a toddler. She was in a high chair, and her mother was sitting on her father's lap. And she said, "No, Daddy, like, get off me. This is their daughter." And she was probably 2.5 years old. She didn't want to share her father with her mom. And I said, this is a baby. But then sometimes we think jealousy is not natural to us as women. And it is indeed natural. Now, when it becomes envy and we want to destroy and lay waste to families, and we want to rip something away from another wife just because we don't want her to have it. We don't have to hit somebody to be violent. It's a very violent thing. It's a very violent attribute to have, to want to destroy and seek out to cause destruction or disturbance in another marriage by making up lies or assumptions or throwing and hurling accusations or name calling. So understand that removing the shame and knowing your title, knowing your worth, okay, and also understanding, in addition to that, that the only people that can destroy your marriage are the participants in the marriage. Yes, you know, when the men have a very noble job to do, and sometimes they have to make the ultimate decision if they see certain patterns that are going on with their wife or wives, where there's a deliberate contempt between women and there's a cause and someone is causing that. That's for him to call that out as well and have a little meeting of his own and get to the bottom of some things. One thing I love about being a wife is that I'm not a husband, but I honor that role. But I know it is heavy and it's nothing to play with. Being a wife isn't anything to play with, but they're not the same. And the women and the men are not each other. So my form of leadership is different than that of my husband, much different, because he has 2 wives and he has the privilege of knowing all the information. So he has to decide what he's going to do with that. And if you're interested in some of his best practices, make sure you get our ebook at polygamyroadmap.com. He wrote one for men, and my co-wife and I, Coach Nyla, wrote one for women. And this is, again, is great for if you're new to polygyny. It has best practices, for best results. And so many people have enjoyed this ebook. I'm telling you, friends of mine have picked it up. They've read it and they love it. And they're not in polygyny, but they were like, if I were in polygyny or thinking about it, because a few of them are, they were like, look, this has some really, really awesome stuff in it. And I love it so much. And also, we have a private education campus. So be sure to go to our polygamyeducationcampus.com for details on that as well, as it's a private place where more people can come together and talk about polygyny, and it's a safe space, because oftentimes we're met with so much judgment about polygyny. It's really difficult, and it's disappointing to know that we can't just talk about it, but people want to say, yeah, no, I don't like it. All of you all are crazy and all this stuff like that. So it's a sad truth, but it's life and it happens. But going to polygamyeducation.com and becoming a member of our private OPR campus is really empowering, because we have meet and greets, we have challenges, and we have live classes every week, 2 times a week. So make sure you check that out as well. Also, I'm going to be conducting a How to Share Your Husband Without Destroying Your Marriage webinar in less than an hour. Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To those of you, and you guys didn't tell me where you were at, where you tuning in from. I would love to know, so that I can share that. We are so excited about our education campus. So make sure you guys go over there to polygamyeducation.com for details. And if you want to tune into my webinar, make sure you visit me at outstandingpersonalrelationships.com/sharing for details on that as well. So, a couple things. Make sure you guys are also commenting, liking, subscribing, and sharing, and hitting that notification bell, because you're going to want to make sure that you know every time that we post something and that we share a video. Again, we have so many videos on YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube specifically. And sometimes some of the questions that you guys are asking are really, really great questions. We have actually tackled those questions and more on our YouTube channel at Outstanding Personal Relationships, on YouTube and on Facebook and on IG. We're Outstanding Relationships, because they're like, it's too long. So we had to chop it up. So make sure you do that as well. I just was live on IG not too long ago, before I actually came over onto YouTube. So be sure that you guys check that out as well. I am going to be preparing for my live webinar on how to share your husband without destroying your marriage. This is something that is very important. So many wives want to know how to be in polygyny and make it healthy and effective for the long term, because we love long-term success. Of course, we love short-term success, but we want to be married long-term. I don't know too many people that say, you know what, I'm going to get married so I can get divorced right away and get over with. We want success in different areas of life, and I'm going to be teaching you some best practices for best results. So make sure you are over at outstandingpersonalrelationships.com/sharing for details. So with that being said, I am going to be closing out this week's Quintessential Queens. I'm going to leave you guys with some GLC. Thank you so much for coming in to this week's Quintessential Queens. I really do appreciate that. Again, make sure you're picking up our polygamy roadmap at polygamyroadmap.com for details as well. And if that is it, and salams and walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to all of you. I really appreciate that. New York, shout out to you, Tiffany Williams in New York. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you guys in a few. And I'm going to leave you with a little GLC. Excuse me, guys. Make sure that you are growing intentionally, loving fearlessly, and connecting on a higher level every single day. I'm Coach Fatimah. See you guys in a few. Assalamu alaikum. Peace. Isn't it frustrating when you think about your husband that you've had for a long time, or maybe even a short time, and then they finally decide that they want to practice polygyny? Then you go, what am I supposed to do with that once you decide you want to practice polygyny?
Am I going to be thrown outside? Are you going to divorce me? What's going to happen to me? You go through all these emotions and all this frustration and trying to figure it out. And then you're on the emotional roller coaster going round and round and round with your own ruminating thoughts. You feel defeated. You feel jealous. You go, what if she's younger? What if she's smarter? What if she's taller? What if she's smaller? What if he likes her more? Those are some of the things that I found extremely frustrating, and I did not know what to do as a wife for so long and a mother. And then I said, well, we can kind of have some fun together alone and all these things like that. But then no, he had this idea of polygyny. So I said, well, where do I fit in? And then I discovered that I had to make a choice. I said, I can either stay in a place of hurt and feeling betrayed and confused and dealing with my own emotions in this new normal that he decided to sign up for. So with that, I said, that's enough. I don't want that anymore for me. So I made a big decision, and that was to make sure that I read the books, healed myself, travel, and uplift my own self-esteem. Because I did that, I also decided to create the Nourishing Fulfillment Counseling Program. I wanted to be a solution, and I wanted to be part of my own solution and help others in the process. I know what it's like going on that emotional roller coaster and not knowing that, okay, this is something that my husband wants to do. He wants to practice polygyny. What can you do? You can only control yourself because, again, you can't control anybody else. So with that, I want to make sure that I offer it to you as well. It's so important to understand that growth has to happen, and growth can't happen if we're stuck in our own comfort zone. So with the Nourishing Fulfillment Counseling Program, I make sure that I equipped others with the same things that I had in those same practices for best results with less legwork. So to learn more about my Nourishing Fulfillment Coaching and Counseling Program, visit me at CoachFatimah.com for details or hit that button below in order to apply. I will see you inside. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.